Hi guys, Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. Another audio interview. I believe, if I am not mistaken, this might be my third or fourth interview. Well, one of them. But anyways, we're not here to talk about how many interviews I've done. We're here to talk to this lovely lady who I have just literally I fell in love with her roles. Honestly, my guest was the voice of Catwoman in Batman the Animated Series. She was the voice of Simone Lenoir in Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, and she's also been in the new Batman Adventures, Gotham Girls, The Real Ghostbusters, and many more. My guest is Adrienne Barbeau. Welcome.
Well, oh, thank you very much, Amber.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. You're welcome. And I know, like your webcam's off, mine's on, and you can see me, which I'm fine with because, like, it's just like when you're talking to someone on Zoom and like you can see them. I know, obviously, it's fine with me not seeing you, but you seeing me, it's like, wow, you're actually talking to the one and only Amber fangirl. It's actually quite cool. So I just wanted to quickly start off by asking, how are you, Adrienne?
I am well. I'm okay.
Great, that's great to hear. I love to hear that. Yeah, we're all about happiness here. I say be kind. Everyone says be kind. It's the nicest thing you can do, definitely. So I wanted to start off by talking about your time on Batman the Animated Series. Now, I've just binge watched a ton of episodes before. The Cat and the Claw, Cat Scratch Fever, Almost Got Him, and the chemistry of you and Catwoman is just amazing. I am in awe. And when your cat Isis is just wow. Is it true that Isis was actually voiced by Frank Welker?
Oh, Amber, I don't know.
And
It's. I do think that Frank did. Well, didn't he do one of the voices in Scooby Doo? Scooby Doo. Yes.
he was Fred Jones.
Yes. But it's been so many years since we recorded Batman, and I'm not, unfortunately, I'm not a big animation fan, so I may have seen it when it first came out, but I've never seen it since. I'm sure uh, there must be online somewhere a list of the voices, and if you think he did Isis, you're probably right.
Yeah, mostly I did listen to her like meows and her little growls and stuff, and I can definitely tell it's Frank doing those. I'm meeting him in Edinburgh this October, so I'm quite excited. I am quite close to Frank. I've known him for just since before the pandemic. We met in person, and then we've met several times virtually, and he's so great. And because you've obviously had the privilege of working with him, not just on Scooby Doo on Zombie Island, but also probably on Batman the Animated Series. That's really cool. Have you worked with him on anything else, by the way? May I ask?
Not not that I'm aware of. Oftentimes when we're doing voiceover work, for instance, I played a 90-year-old French maid in Family Guy who was having a sex scene with Carl Reiner. And unfortunately, it was just me in the booth. I never got to see Carl. So Frank and I may have shown up on something, but I don't have a recollection of being in the same room with him.
Adrienne, you, of course, Zombie Island, literally one of my favorite childhood films. I had it on VHS growing up. Now, I'm not that old, I'm only 18. So, I remember seeing the VHS around my house when I was about 3, 4. So this was like 2007-ish. And then I rewatched it very recently. I was like, I like this. So what was it like to work on that?
Well, all I really remember is no one said anything about the character that I was going to be doing. And I showed up and they suddenly said, well, she has a French accent, or I don't know, maybe it was supposed to be Cajun. And it was like, oh my gosh. I wish I had known so I could have prepared. So when I see it now, I think, oh, not the greatest French accent in the world, or maybe it's Cajun. I don't know. But I do remember it as being fun. You know, some of these things, you know, you get called and you go in and you work for 2 or 3 hours, and they're all, some of them way in the past. And so I don't remember too much. What I remember about Batman is that it was always a joy to go to work, because they tried to do it with as many of us in the cast of that episode as possible together in the room. And when I was first approached about doing voiceover work by an agent who had heard me on a game show, I didn't know anything about it, and certainly didn't know anything about animation, and didn't know anything about voiceovers. So I took a class by 2 wonderful teachers, Susan Blue, who you must know, right?
I've interviewed her.
Susan, who could do a 4-year-old boy with a cold, and it was just stunning. And Andrea Romano. Well, when I showed up for the first work for Batman, the animated series, Andrea Romano was our booth director. And so it was always a joy to go to work, first to see Andrea, and then to see, I never knew who was going to be there as a guest, you know, working with Mark Hamill and Diane Pershing, who I've become close friends with, because she's also an author, as am I. And so we sort of bonded over our books, you know, our writing, but, and John Glover. And so I think we did most of those shows together. I remember there was one where I was filming in Toronto, I think it was. And so I had to go into the booth and just do Catwoman by myself. But other than that, you know, the voiceover work, it's not foremost in my mind. I can remember a couple of things about doing some of the video games that I've done, and I've done a lot of those. But when you first asked if we could talk about this, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not so sure I can tell her anything that's going to be very interesting. But I will say, a year and a half ago, I was in New Zealand working on a Netflix series called Cowboy Bebop, an anime series. And I was in my hotel room. I had the TV on in the living room, and I was in the bedroom. And I heard what I realized was an episode of Batman, the animated series. And I walked in and I started watching it, and I thought, well, who is doing that voice of Catwoman? That doesn't sound like me. Is that me? Did I do this? And I had to look it up because I don't know, it had been so many years since I'd done it. I thought, is that what I sound like? You know? So.
Oh, Adrienne, oh bless you. Wow, I didn't know you were in the Cowboy Bebop, the live action show. Wow, that was cool.
I was Maria Murdoch.
Oh wow, that's so cool. I'm not that heavily into anime, but obviously I did hear that because obviously Steve Bloom was Spike Spiegel, and he was, you know, proper advertising it on his Twitter and everything like that. I'm not sure if you know who Steve Bloom is. He's a fellow voice actor.
Yes, he was in the anime version, right?
Yeah, I think so.
The anime version, yes. John Cho played that role Spike, in the live action, the one that I did.
Yeah. Back to Batman. You said you were told by Susan Blue and Andrea Romano. Susan, I have interviewed for my channel. Andrea, I haven't yet interviewed. I'd like to do an interview with her in the future. We exchange emails frequently. So yeah, I know she's doing a GalaxyCon thing next week with Diane and Loren Lester and Kevin Conroy, where it's like a Q&A, and you know, you get to video chat them and stuff like that, and it's really cool. I think I might get a video chat with Andrea, perhaps, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, great. Well, tell her I sent my love.
I will do indeed, definitely. Wow. Oh yeah, I've just remembered what I was going to say. But you recording on your own, that must, I was going to say, going back to the Family Guy thing, doing the group record for that with Carl Reiner. Can you imagine?
Lots of kissing and smooching and, just me and Mike. No Carl Reiner. But it is very funny.
Yeah. Oh,
if you go to my website, which is abarbeau.com, I just, after all these years, my voiceover agents asked me to put together a demo, a reel of some of my video games and my animation. And so if you go to my website, you can see that scene, And actually, that was sort of a funny audition. I had just landed from somewhere and I was in the parking lot of Los Angeles International Airport when I got a call from my agent saying, can you do a French accent? And I said, well, yeah, I think so. And she said, well, would you just record these 3 lines on your phone and send it to me? And so standing in the parking lot of LAX, I recorded 3 lines on the phone and sent it to her. And the next thing I knew, they were calling and asking me to come in and do Family Guy to play this 90-year-old French maid.
Oh, wow, that's brilliant. Oh, also going back to Batman again, I apologize. Batman's my hyperfixation as an autistic girl, with a dream for voice acting. Literally, I've been binge watching Batman recently. Not only did you voice Catwoman, but you also voiced Martha Wayne, Bruce Wayne's mom, in a few episodes when she did appear in flashbacks, or in that one episode where Bruce is living a different life and Thomas and Martha Wayne are still alive. So I know Kevin Conroy was Thomas Wayne. So what was it like working with him in the booth? I know not just as Batman and Catwoman, but as Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne. Is there anything you can remember from it?
Amber, if you hadn't told me that I did that voice, I wouldn't know. I'm sorry. I have no recollection of it.
That's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Don't apologize. Everything's okay. Hey, I tell you what, I will send you some clips from Batman and Scooby Doo. Probably tomorrow when I wake up. I'm a heavy sleeper. I will send you them, and you can rewatch them at your own leisure. Definitely.
I have the DVD collection here.
Really?
And I think I did go through 1 or 2 when I was putting this animation reel together. But when I do, and I don't do very many Comic Cons, but when I do, people are always asking me to write a line of Catwoman's. I should ask you. I'm sure you remember her lines much better than I do.
I don't know any memorable quotes. I guess I just really remember normal quotes, maybe.
Well, I think there's one that people have told me where she says, almost got him.
Yeah.
Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, at the end of the episode, almost got him.
Yeah, almost got him. And
then yeah, and I've thought of a good one. Maybe like if you and Frank Welker did a Comic Con together, maybe in the maybe one can only dream. You could get like a glossy picture of a Catwoman and Isis, and then you could write "Sweet Isis," and it's just Frank Welker's signature.
Actually, I have a photograph like that of Catwoman with Isis on her shoulder, that I take to the Comic Con. So we'll see. Maybe we'll end up together someplace where you can be.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, only one person can probably make it happen somewhere out there. Yeah, maybe. What else have you done recently, Adrienne? As in voice acting, is there anything?
And it's in voice acting. I just finished 2. I don't know if I can talk about them.
If not, it's okay. NDAs, I can relate.
2 animated films. I guess it was 2. for Warner Brothers, based on a live action film that was released, I don't know how many years ago, based on a comic book about superheroes. And I played one of the superheroes, but I should wait a while to find out if I can talk about it.
Okay.
I just did a voice in Curious George, Go West.
Frank
Goes
Welker's
West or
Curious
something.
George.
Is he really?
He's the voice of Curious George, yes.
Oh, well. Well,
So that's another thing you've done with Frank Welker.
My scenes weren't with him though. They were with, oh gosh, I've seen him. I don't remember who the character, have you seen Curious George Goes West? Or
I
Go
haven't
West,
seen it yet. George Goes West.
Go West, Young Man. They go to visit his.
Go West, Go Wild.
Go West, Go Wild. And they go to visit. Oh,
Cousin Ginny.
Sorry.
Cousin Ginny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cousin Ginny.
April Stewart voices Ginny.
And what's the character I play? Are you seeing it there?
Yeah, Ginny's mother. You play Ginny's mother.
I play Ginny's mother, and we go off on a vacation so that Curious George and I don't.
The man with the yellow hat.
And the man with the yellow hat have to oversee the farm, and the animals get out or something. But we're off on a vacation, and so I did that one not too long ago. I just finished a couple of video games. Are you into video games at all?
Very much so, actually.
Oh,
I have an Xbox, I have a Switch.
Okay. Yeah. I am the voice of the Overseer in Fallout 76.
Wow.
And I did Halo 4. I was Dr. Hilson, and God of War, and this God of War 3, I think, and Batman Arkham Asylum.
Oh yeah, you did that
Mad Max. Mad Max. And I just finished another one that will be released, I think, later this fall. And again, it was, we can't tell the real name. And I just finished another book about, it's actually a compilation of stories from all of the actors who appeared in the original Broadway production of Grease, because I was the original Rizzo, and then the actors who appeared in the first national touring companies. We reached out to about 100 actors, everybody from John Travolta to Patrick Swayze's family, and to Treat Williams and Peter Gallagher and Mary Lou Henner, all of the actors who had been in the show, and compiled all their stories. And it sort of follows Grease, the musical, from its inception in Chicago, when it was a very raw, blue, raunchy, off Broadway show, to its being brought to New York, and to being the longest running show on Broadway for many years, because this is the 50th anniversary of when we opened. And so I spent about a year and a half of the pandemic working on that book, and did a couple of other movies. And what I do when I'm not acting is I do video describing for the blind, so that I am narrating all of your favorite TV shows and movies. And I don't think I've ever narrated an animated film, but I could be wrong. I just did a couple of things for Nova, which is our science channel, so that if you are visually impaired and you're watching the movie, you hear the actors speaking, but then you hear my voice or someone else's voice describing what is happening in between the dialogue. Yeah. So I do that. And and occasionally go to a Comic-Con.
Nice. Hey, considering this is an audio interview, how about maybe you could give a little bit of an audio description as to something I perhaps do? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. All right.
So,
So it's going to be in between your dialogue.
yeah.
She picks up her microphone and holds it in her left hand. She laughs uproariously with her hand covering her mouth. She's holding her hand. She takes her
cat headphones. I have cat headphones.
Yes. She reaches up and grabs her cat headphones and throws them across the room. You didn't do that, but
Oh, it's really about Greece. I only watched the film for the first time a few weeks ago, and I have met a few cast members from the film. I've met Barry Pearl, Michael Tucci, and Kelly Ward, who were Doody, Sonny, and Putty. I mean, Kelly Ward is actually a voice director now. He's voice directed a lot of cartoons, actually. I'm not sure if you've ever worked with him.
really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen the movie.
It's actually really good. And I've met Jan and Marty as well. Oh, go ahead.
I haven't seen the movie. I know Barry Pearl, and I think I've met Michael. And actually, Barry contributed a story for the book because he was in one of the stage productions before he did the movie. So.
Oh wow, that's so
But
cool.
you've never seen it on. Well, of course, if you were to see it on stage now, you wouldn't be seeing anything like what we did 50 years ago. The original theatrical production was much more realistic and gritty and not quite so bubblegummy as the productions that they do now.
Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, it was Dinah Manoff who played Marty, and then Jamie Donnelly who was Jan. Didi Con, who was French, he was meant to go, but unfortunately she came down with an illness, so she had to cancel. Which I was really looking forward to meeting her. Yeah, they did the panel and everything. I went to see the panel. This was before I watched the film, and obviously I went because Kelly Ward was there. He was like the one I wanted to meet the most. So I went. And I was like, I'm fixated with this film now. It's amazing. I love it so much. Oh man. So Adrienne, I think we've got time for one more itty-bitty question, if that's okay. Okay, I will do indeed. Adrienne, if they were to bring back Catwoman for anything Batman related, whether it be a film or a TV show or a special, would you want to reprise the role?
I'd love to. I mean, I don't think an animated film. I don't think they'd hire me for a feature film, but a live action film, I mean, but of course I'd love to.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
You literally have, when you do Catwoman, you have a voice like silk. It's, if you don't mind me saying, it's beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. You know, it was I got a call one day from my voiceover agent saying, can you come into the office? We've got an audition for you. But they did say, I'm sure they did say, it's for Catwoman for this new animated series. And I went into my agent's office. They had a recording studio in there. And I think I only said maybe 4 lines, you know, and then about 3 weeks later, I got a call saying, they've hired you for Catwoman.
Nice one.
And who knew in those days, that was early 90s, that it would be so successful all these many years later. It's wonderful.
Indeed it is. Yeah. May I ask, you obviously worked alongside Harley Quinn herself, Arlene Sorkin. What was it like to work alongside her real quick?
Well, again, I mean, we were all just sitting in a row with our scripts in front of us, and you know, it was fun to see everybody, but we didn't have the kind of exchange you would have as a live actor, you know, where you're working face to face with someone. You're just sitting next to them and delivering into the microphone. But she's wonderful, as were they all. I was sort of fanning out because Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. was somebody that I had watched, in 77 Sunset Strip. And so, oh my gosh, and then there was, I think you would know this better than I, but my memory tells me that James Earl Jones did a voice. Would you know that?
I think so.
And then of course Ed Asner, I mean, it was just always a delight to show up. You didn't have to put on makeup. You could come right from the gym, and to see.
Apparently he was suggested to play Lucius Fox or something along those lines.
Well, I seem to remember meeting him in the room and, again, being like, oh my gosh, James Earl Jones and Ed, who was a friend, Ed Asner. And
yeah.
it was great fun. It was great fun.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that you had such good memories working on Batman and also Scooby Doo and Zombie Island that we spoke about before.
Yes.
Yeah, indeed. Adrienne, I know I don't want to keep you waiting any longer. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do like a fake outro where I say thank you for watching this interview. Please like, subscribe, and stuff. And when I say bye and I do the clapboard, please don't leave. Like, in the nicest way possible. I'm not trying to hold you hostage or anything, but just like
no.
I
understand, and I have something I want to share with you too. So let's go. Let's say goodbye. No, I just have a thought of something you might like to watch.
Okay. Okay, indeed. So, Adrienne, where can we find you on social media? Because it's been absolutely wonderful to talk to you this evening.
Well, I always have to look this up. Okay, here we go. I'm on Facebook, but I don't use it very much. But my Facebook page is at the number 4, and then all lowercase ABARBEAU. That's for A Barbeau. I have a Twitter page, but I never go on it. I don't, and that's at A Barbeau. But I am on Instagram, and that's Adrienne_Barbeau. And my website is www.abarbeau.com.
Wonderful. Great.
And the website is probably the most fun in terms of if you want to see the demo reel for my video games or for my animation. And I try and keep it up to date to say which Comic Cons I'm going to be doing or which horror conventions I'm going to be doing. You reminded me I've got to get in there and update it.
Well, I've just followed you back on Instagram. Well, I didn't even know you had Instagram. I knew you had like Facebook and Twitter, but I didn't know like you had Instagram.
I pretty much use only Instagram, and anything I post on Instagram usually ends up on my Facebook page, but or actually maybe it ends up on, I don't know. I stopped using Facebook. It just got to be, a little too political.
That's you, right?
That's me.
Just followed you. I've just followed you.
Yeah.
Yay! And you can see into my little life as well, because my page is public, so you'll see like everything on my page.
Okay.
Yes. Sweet. So, to you guys at home, thank you so much for watching this interview with the lovely Adrienne Barbeau. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and as always, be kind. And thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay happy. We'll see you around. Bye! And cut.